foundation of the seventh era faithist is what was said in that pledge, but also, you know, the wisdom that's within Oahspe. All that is there, but it's crystallized in that pledge that we give for the foundation. And that foundation, from that foundation, then we can the aspirations, we can aspire from the foundation. Lacking that foundation, the aspirations will come from whatever foundations that we have, which will be a foundation of self, essentially. But that foundation of the seventh era faithist, that is the organic first resurrection, crystallized, so to speak, or moving. It's based on that S foundation rather than the corporeal foundation. Now the corporeal foundation is still here, the beast is still here, and we love our fellow creatures because they are, in a sense, they're all relatives. We're all from one great spirit. And so we have a stewardship, a responsibility toward them. But we're not talking about that right now. What we're talking about essentially is the upper foundation, the S foundation. And so how do we, you know, how are we gonna go forward with that? How do we as a people proceed? How do we as an earth proceed? And of course, there will be these different fraternities and all that, and that's the next coming phase in humanity. Now it's going to take a while for all this stuff to unfold, but unfold it will, and these things will manifest. And ultimately, from all these fraternities, there will be these seventh era faithist fraternities. From these, ultimately, the fraternities themselves, they're, well, from amidst their interactions and everything, way in the future, way in the future, the fraternities will feel a milieu where they together, you know, will start to look for a higher, better way, and then they'll discover, well, the seventh era faithists have been doing this all along because they had that S foundation given by God, Son of Jehovah, through his lords, son and daughters of Jehovah, because the lords have dominion over the earth and where mortals are and all that stuff. Whereas the gods, they have up in atmospheria and up in the etheria, and essentially the higher realms, the realms of pure spirit, rather than the lowest foundation or the lower foundation. They have the higher foundation in their keeping. And all that's going to come and come about to where then people will start to gravitate or move toward this higher foundation, and from that will rise the Father's kingdom ultimately. So that was the troubling aspect this morning, was that you have all these people who want to do all these good things, and it feels so good, you know, to be in with people that you want to be doing something with. Now in the case this morning, it was music and making music, and to me, like, okay, well, the making music thing may be a metaphor. It might be a metaphor, because making music is creating a flow. In order for something to come together that's sustainable on the S level, it has to be based on the seventh era faithist order of light. Now, those who are still there, you're still going to have people who are attempting to do good, and they'll, regardless of what they call the Creator, they may say the universe or the Almighty or whomever, but they're still going to try to manifest this the best that they can and try to help out and everything like that. So you're going to see all these different foundations set out there and trying to move forward. The Great Spirit, Jehovah, will ultimately unite everyone. So what can we do? You know, well, what we do is that we live the foundation. We live the foundation in whatever the Great Spirit wants us to do in regard to that, because we all have to ask Jehovah, because that's the thing, is you have Jehovah in charge. And we're told in Owaspy, all right, until you get up to 10 people, unless they're celibates, then it's 8. You don't need anybody to focus on the whole group of them, because Jehovah himself helps everyone along. But when you get beyond 10, then you have to start having someone specially look for, because things are going to get too scattered for man to do it without it in certain levels, and that levels which you can do without help, that increases as we progress in ascension. And so you have the second resurrection, where you're working together as one without written rules and so forth, and you can do things in us like an organic woven light. It gets easier, so to speak. I mean, to watch the whole, but you still need, someone who keeps an eye on it and says, okay, well, the weave is going to go this way or the weave's going to go that way, because they're looking at the Great Spirit and where the Great Spirit's going, because you want to be one with the Great Spirit and emulate the Great Spirit. And so whoever has the clearest vision of that and can perceive it, that they call it the highest light kind of thing, well, that's the way it goes. But it has to be built, you see, from the inside out. In Klausman now, it has to come from like this out. In the past, it was Cephas, it was this way down, to build our anchor, to get our anchored in the earth and anchored in a surety in the lowest foundation. And now the time has come for us to become anchored in the heavenly. As Seventh-era Faithists, we know that if we have our foundation, which is the covenants, then we can proceed. We can aspire from there. But at least we have a foundation where we can all work from and aspire toward. Because we're herbivorous, clean herbivorous, then we're less likely to be spaced out and be like little children playing in a candy store because of the vibrations and stuff, and be more aware in our mind of what's going on with others and what's going on with the group, and not for the group's sake and not for anyone's sake except for the Great Spirit's sake. If we align ourselves with Jehovah first, then Jehovah is for all. And so we by serving Jehovah and flowing with Jehovah, we actually end up doing all those things. All those things happen where others get the reap benefits. The whole gets uplifted, and because that's just one of the realities of S life, is that the more you give, the more you get. And so if you're helping everything to become better, then you yourself get uplifted, and you don't even have to think about it, because that's just the way it works. So it's you can get beyond having to concern yourself about yourself. Not that that's easy to do, but that's there's the steps and up progressions, upward and onward. That was the experience this morning, and the importance, and then learning about the importance of standards and foundations and standards and practices, and the rise and what's coming up in the future and all that. So I hope it was helpful for you. I mean, it certainly was. I don't have all the answers. I mean, who has all the answers? The Great Spirit has all the answers. But that's something that I was given to share. I could share if I wanted to, and so I think it was a good idea to share. So. blessings of the Almighty Great Spirit, you know,